Hey Reddit, I've been sitting on this story for months, and I finally feel ready to share. Strap in, because this is going to be a wild ride. So picture this. I'm 24, working my butt off as a software engineer at a pretty decent tech company in Seattle. Life was going okay. I had a tiny apartment in Capitol Hill, could afford my Starbucks addiction, and was even putting money aside for a rainy day. Little did I know that rainy day was about to turn into a full-blown hurricane. About 8 months ago, I started experiencing these terrible migraines. At first, I brushed them off. Too much screen time, not enough sleep, the usual millennial lifestyle stuff. But they kept getting worse. My vision would blur, I'd get dizzy spells, and sometimes I couldn't even form coherent sentences. Pretty terrifying when you're in the middle of a team meeting trying to explain code architecture. Finally went to see a doctor, shout out to Swedish Medical Center, and after a bunch of tests, they found something concerning. Without getting too medical on you guys, there was an issue with blood vessels in my brain that needed treatment. Not immediately life-threatening, but definitely something that couldn't be ignored. Here's where things get messy. My company insurance would cover most of it, but there was still a significant out-of-pocket cost, around $15,000. Now I had about $8,000 in savings, but that still left me short. So I did what I thought was reasonable. I called my parents. Background. I've been helping my family financially since I got my first real job. My parents never went to college, and they've always struggled with money. When I started making decent money, I sent them $500 every month without fail. Helped them fix their roof, paid off their credit card debt, even covered my younger brother Jake's community college tuition. So when I called them explaining my situation, I expected, concern, support? What I got instead was a lecture about being more careful with my money. Maybe if you didn't waste money on that expensive apartment, my mom said. I live in a studio that costs less than most people pay for parking in this city. We just don't have that kind of money, honey, my dad added. I get it, I really do, but here's the kicker. Literally the next day, Jake posts on Instagram showing off his brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max. The caption, "Best parents ever, thanks for the early birthday gift." That phone cost over $200, and his birthday wasn't for another 3 months. I called them again, trying to stay calm. Hey, I saw Jake got a new phone. If you guys could swing that, maybe you could help with even part of my medical bills. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then my mom says, "That's different. Jake needs a good phone for school." For school. He's taking 2 online classes at community college. Besides, my dad chimed in, "You make good money. Figure it out yourself. Figure it out yourself." After everything I'd done for them, I hung up feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. But you know what? They were right about one thing. I did figure it out myself. First, I stopped the monthly payments. Cold turkey. Then I took out a medical loan. Thank God for decent credit, scheduled my procedure, and started focusing on my health. The texts started almost immediately. "Did you forget to send this month's payment?" "The bank says nothing came through." "Everything okay, sweetie?" I ignored them all. Had my procedure, everything went well, thanks for asking. Took 2 weeks off to recover, and used that time to really think about my relationship with my family. Update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my first post. You guys have no idea how much it means to me. So here's what happened next. About a month after I cut them off, the calls started getting desperate. My parents were behind on their mortgage. Apparently they'd been using my money for that. Their car payment was overdue, and the credit cards were maxing out again. "Please, we're family," my mom pleaded during one particularly tearful voicemail. "We didn't know you were that sick." "Really?" Because I literally told them I needed brain treatment. How much sicker did I need to be? Jake even reached out, trying to play peacemaker. "Come on, sis, they're really struggling. Can't you just help them out this once?" This once? I'd been helping them out for 3 years straight. But the real kicker came when I found out through my aunt that they'd been telling everyone I was being selfish and dramatic. According to them, I'd cut them off over a minor disagreement and was punishing them for not having money. They conveniently left out the part about the iPhone, or the fact that I needed medical treatment, or that they'd been treating me like their personal ATM for years. That's when I decided to take things further. I consulted with a lawyer friend, shout out to Jessica from law school, about my options. Turns out, in Washington state, you can sue for intentional infliction of emotional distress. The fact that they chose to buy a luxury item for one child while denying medical help to another, that could qualify. Now, I wasn't looking for a huge payday. I just wanted them to understand the gravity of what they'd done. And honestly, I wanted my medical expenses covered. We sent them a formal letter first, explaining the situation and asking them to cover my out-of-pocket medical costs. Their response? They hired their own lawyer, with what money, I have no idea, and tried to countersue for financial abandonment of grown adults by their adult daughter. Make it make sense. The legal back and forth was exhausting. They tried every trick in the book, claimed I was lying about my medical condition, said the iPhone was actually a refurbished model, it wasn't. Even tried to argue that I owed them for raising me. But here's the thing about legal proceedings. Facts matter. And the facts were on my side. Bank statements showing 3 years of payments, medical records, screenshots of Jake's Instagram post, text messages where they acknowledged my condition but refused to help. The trial was intense. Seeing my parents in court, watching them lie under oath, it was surreal. My mom actually testified that they thought I was exaggerating my symptoms for attention. My dad claimed they'd offered to help, but I'd refused. Completely false. But the worst part? They brought Jake as a character witness. My own brother sat there and called me money-obsessed and vindictive. The same brother whose education I'd paid for. The judge saw through it all. The ruling came down in my favor. They were ordered to pay my medical expenses plus damages for emotional distress. Total amount? $25,000. Update. So I won. Legally, financially, I won. But why does it feel so hollow? The judge's decision was pretty scathing. He called my parents' behavior callous and discriminatory, and noted that their priorities were clearly skewed. He even mentioned that their decision to purchase a luxury item while denying medical care to their child showed a blatant disregard for parental responsibility. They had 30 days to pay. Of course, they immediately started the sob story circuit. Suddenly, everyone in the family was calling me. How could you do this to your own parents? They're going to lose their house. Family doesn't sue family. Funny how family doesn't sue family, but family can apparently let family suffer with a medical condition while buying the golden child the latest tech. The texts from my parents started coming daily. Long, emotional messages about how sorry they were, how they'd made a mistake, how they'd pay me back for everything if I just dropped the judgment. We see now how wrong we were. Please forgive us. We'll make it right. We love you. 3 years of financial support, and it took a lawsuit for them to say they loved me. Jake tried reaching out too, but his messages were different. Still angry, still blaming me. You've ruined everything. Mom cries every day. I hope you're happy. Am I happy? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I'm healthy, that's what matters most. The treatment worked, my symptoms are gone, and I'm back to living my life. I even got a promotion at work. Turns out nearly dying really puts things in perspective and makes you go after what you want. But the family stuff, that's complicated. They paid the judgment, had to take out a second mortgage to do it, from what I heard. They still text me every single day. Sometimes it's apologies, sometimes it's updates about their lives I didn't ask for, sometimes it's just thinking of you. I haven't responded to a single message. My therapist, yeah, I got one of those too, best decision ever, says I'm processing grief. Not just for the family I thought I had, but for the realization that maybe they never existed in the first place. Was I ever really their daughter, or was I just their financial plan? The money from the lawsuit. I donated half to a charity that helps families with medical expenses. Felt like the right thing to do. The rest went into my emergency fund because apparently I'm the only one I can really count on. Final update. It's been half a year since everything went down, and I thought I'd give you all one last update. I still get daily texts from my parents. I've never responded, but I haven't blocked them either. Maybe that makes me weak. I don't know. Their messages have evolved from desperate apologies to mundane life updates. The roses you planted are blooming. Saw your favorite movie was on TV. Dad's blood pressure is acting up again. Jake reached out last month with a different tone. Apparently, he's realized the gravy train isn't coming back and is struggling to pay for his next semester. No apology, just a casual, hey, could you help me out? The audacity. I'm doing well. Really well, actually. Got another promotion, moved to a nicer place in Queen Anne, even started dating someone who understands boundaries. Revolutionary concept in my world. Do I regret suing them? No. Do I miss them? Sometimes. It's weird grieving people who are still alive, but that's what this is, grief. They say blood is thicker than water, but I've learned that sometimes water is exactly what you need to survive. And sometimes the family you choose is worth more than the family you're born into. Thanks for following my journey, Reddit. Your support meant everything. Stay healthy, and remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Peace out.